Can you guys hear me? It is Saturday morning, 12 noon Eastern time. That's New York time. Every Saturday we're doing this, guys. Uh, and it is February 4th here in Zone 5B 6A, Northern Indiana. And we just got over a cold spell. It's been pretty cold, which has been great for the ice bathing and all of that. And the sauna has been wonderful. There's nice, thick, huge chunks of ice in the ice bath. And so you had to take the sledgehammer and bust it up, and that's really nice. But not a lot of things are happening outside at the moment. So let us see who's here. Steve Johnson. Hello, Nate. Thanks for all the great content. You're welcome, Steve. Hello, our legato, my friend. Cecily Cronin. Hi from Western Australia. Hello from Midwest USA. So, guys, we got some questions today from you guys, which is great. And we got a number of things to talk about. So, because the time is fast approaching. Now, most people are going to be wanting to start seeds too early. And that's the number one mistake that people are making, is that they start seeds too early, and then the seeds will sit there and kind of just stall out. And maybe they don't have the lighting set up right. They think they do, but they don't. And then they don't have the heat right. They think that their sunny window is going to do it. And yeah, if you plant like that, okay, you will get something. You know, the seeds will sprout. I mean, that's what seeds do. So they will sprout, and you will get a plant. But we want to pursue excellence in plants is what we want. Good morning, Taida. And so we don't want to just like get something that survives, just barely survives. And then we plant it outside and it just sort of survives, and we get a little bit, we get a few little tiny little tomatoes or something. Oh yeah, it did fine. Okay, that's many people's perception of fine. You know, oh, my seeds did fine. Yeah, I just started them in my sunny window and they do fine. Well, okay. That's your standards, and that's fine, of course. But what I'm talking about is having thriving plants that are bursting with life and flavor and microorganisms and all the good stuff, colors, and they keep for a long time, whole different level. So that's what we're pursuing here. Okay, that's what we do. So for that reason, we have to start all the way from the very beginning. When we're starting the seeds, we give them the most ideal setup, and that is heat from underneath, light, good, strong, powerful light from above, and timing. We put the light on a timer. Guys, this is very important. Most people do not understand how important the timing of their lights are. And because they've never worked with phototropic plants, with sensitive plants that are sensitive to the day and light cycle, like I have. I've worked extensively with plants that are very sensitive to the dark and light cycles. And this is how I know that all plants, to a varying degree, are sensitive to the amount of daylight and hours and darkness that they receive. And many of them can be sensitive down to the minute. I mean, the plants detect changes in the day length down to the minutes. And so we can't just like have a light that I'll turn it on before I go to work, and then forget about it, go somewhere after work, and then come home and it's been on for 22 hours or something. You know, that is not good for the plants, and that will cause issues. That never happens in nature. Also, what never happens in nature is, rarely, is 24-hour light. Some people, I leave the seedling light on 24 hours. That can work, but that doesn't produce the best, guys, because nature never gets the 24 hours of light in this. I mean, some places do, but that's the very rare exception. Okay, so we have bottom heat, top good strong light, and a timer. So Miss KC, hi from Atlanta. I hope everyone is well and having a blessed day. Yes, same to you, my friend. No Way says Saturday at noon is tough time for family man. Ooh, I bet. Yeah, definitely. Well, fortunately, they will be on to rewatch. You know, and this is kind of more like a podcast almost, to where you can just have it on, you know, when you're doing gardening chores or when you're planting or whatever. Or if you're engaged, you can be right here, right now. So Tirza, glad to be back after power outage and 12-day phone service issue. Wow, yeah, glad you're back. Wonder what caused the power outage. Finally made it back to the live. Yes, good morning. Christine Rudy, good evening. Oh, good evening. Where are you at, Christine? Jeremy Ransom says, hello all. Greets from East County, San Diego. 10A. Share the knowledge. Nate is great. Oh, thank you very much. That rhymes. Anurag Tiwari. Hi from India. Hello, my friend. What part of India are you in? I've traveled extensively in India. Royal Enfield Machismo 500. Ryan. Hello, Nate and gang from Plymouth, UK. Hello, my friend. PA says, hi from Portugal. I'm a drop in and out because it's around dark o'clock here. And I need to deal with my poultry before the fox does. Ooh, yeah, got to get the poultry, guys. Yes, I so wish that we had that I could have chickens here. Yeah, but there's city, ordinances and stuff like that, and where I'm at is too much. I don't have the land, because the chickens need to roam, and they will destroy the garden. We used to have them out in California, but they will root through the garden here, so it's just not going to work. But I guess they claim that chickens are too loud, too noisy. But what I want to do is have them come stand here in any night, any random night, and hear about 5 different dogs barking incessantly. I mean, all night. And so, and then the pack of wild junkyard dogs that the neighbor keeps over there. So how do you think that a chicken, as long as they don't have a rooster, it's just absurd. It's more about, we just don't be growing your own food, guys. Just don't be doing your own thing, like making your own eggs and stuff like that. No, eggs come from the store, guys. That's what they want us to just kind of condition us. No, don't be growing your food and stuff like that. Just go to the store and buy all your stuff. That's what they're trying to condition everybody. And they've done a really good job for the most part, but those of us will say, no, that's not the way, of course. Taida says, oh, they probably won't like quail roosters then, I guess, even though they're quiet. Quail could be, quail, I haven't really looked into quail like I maybe should. Maybe I could keep that. I'm looking into rabbits. And many of you, Laura, you've been helping me, sending me information and stuff about rabbits, showing me your setups and stuff like that. A number of you guys from New Zealand have been emailing me at gardenlikeaviking@gmail.com. You've been sending me pictures of your setups and all that. Very, very helpful, guys. Good morning, Joanne. Good to see you here. Busy girl, good to see you here. I think it's been a while since you've been here. And so the quail could be an option, but the eggs are so small. How much? I would have to have a lot, I feel like, because I eat probably 2 dozen eggs a week. Well, definitely 2 dozen eggs a week. But I got a farmer not far from here that is still selling them for $3, guys. So, and they're really good ones too, because he just lets them like roam. I know he feeds them as well, some feed, but what you really want is the chickens to go out and get the insects, because that's what makes them yolks nice and dark, and the shells really rock. You have to really go to crack at it. After eating real natural eggs for so long, whenever I go to like my mom's house, who refuses to buy real eggs, she gets like the conventional eggs, and I take one and it's like made of tissue paper. It's like I go to crack it and my hand almost goes all the way through the bowl. I'm just like, the whole thing just disintegrates in my hand because the shell is so thin and just it's like tissue paper, and that's a sign of a lack in minerals and calciums and magnesiums and all the good stuff. So you want that yolk to be dark and rich. You want the shell to be nice and hard. That's what you want. Because that indicates, obviously, far more nutrients. You don't want those tissue paper things that collapse in your hand. So, Chef Baker Barista Gardener, hello. Good to see you here. He says, good morning. Finally made a live chat. Hope everyone had a great Imbolc. Imbolc? What is this? Is that a typo? Matthias says, hello from the Netherlands. Hello, my friend. Glad to see you here. Yes, are the farmers still protesting about the nitrogen ban or the nitrogen issue? What is the temp there? Here, right now, well, last night when we were ice bathing, it was about 15 degrees. And right now it is about, let's see here. Oh, it's 29 degrees. Not bad, Not bad. So we're got a heat spell coming, guys. It's going to be 41, then 39, 48, 45. Yeah. And see, our forecast here is like this. Pretty much overcast, and I'm going to say mild. I mean, if it's in the 30s and 40s, that's mild. That's totally doable. Better than the single digits and the teens. I think I missed a comment. I saw Garth said, let me see. I'm going to go back here. Garth said, let's look for it. There we go. Garth checking in, negative 31 degrees Celsius yesterday morning. Now, is that wind chill, or are you guys talking about actual, that's what the mercury is reading? Because that is cold. That's really cold. Barbara, 80 here in Florida. Okay, showing off. Barbara's showing off. Let's see, U2. Are you in Indiana? Same here. Yes, I am. Fort Wayne, northeast Indiana, about 20 minutes from Michigan. The love waters, my friend. Hello. Hello to you and the family. Always sending you the highest blessing and the positive energies, my friend. And let's see, Taida. Blessed Imbolc to you. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Yes, Taida says, yes, our oats are orange. I refuse conventional eggs. They don't have any flavor either. No, absolutely not. They have no flavor. And but it's very similar. Okay, it's very similar to the plants as well, but it's a lot easier to tell in the eggs. But when the egg has a tissue paper thin shell, a sort of bland colored yolk, and not much taste to it, then that indicates that what the organism was consuming was lacking in nutrients. Okay, and we can see it, and it makes sense with chickens and stuff. But the exact same principles apply with our veggies, our produce as well. When you have a nutrient-rich source of nutrients, of the soil, thriving soil food web, and you've got all the elements that the plant requires in the natural ratios that they require, it's going to be like the chicken having everything that it needs, and in terms of the insects and all the different kinds of proteins and the magnesiums and the calciums and everything. And that creates an egg with a nice hard shell, dark yolk, and flavorful egg. The same with the produce. That's why when we go to the store, now how many of you, when you go to the store, you will see a tomato and it's like, oh man, I yearn, I wish that was an actual tomato. I wish that I would be able to bite into that and go, oh yeah, midsummer, bursting with complex sweetness and all of that stuff. But no, you go to the store and you find the tomato there and it's like, man, crunchy water. It's like bitter water, zero flavor, poor color, but it's heavy. And so that is lacking in the nutrients because it did not have the ability to absorb. It was not grown in the proper media. It could have very well been grown hydroponically, which, guys, I know some people want to crucify me for saying this, but hydroponics cannot ever compare to growing in soil, okay? In rare circumstances, if you have to grow in hydroponics, okay, it's still growing, it's still something, and it can still have nutrients in it, of course, depending on the methods. But it can never compare to the thriving soil food web the way nature intended it to, okay? And so you will get produce that is so nutrient dense and so full of vitamins and minerals for your body that, yeah, that's just the way it goes. So let me see what you guys. Alexander, hello, my friend. Rabbits, easy, cheap, low overhead, self-sustaining, cheap housing, food, fur, fertilizer, and they are cute. Well, those are some pretty good pros, I would have to say, right there. So I am trying to see, I don't have much space here, unfortunately, but I think I have enough to make like a rabbit hutch. And so I want to see how viable that really is. I mean, how realistic it really is to actually, is it worth the efforts spent? And then I have to get some kind that can tolerate these winters, which it's not like up north, of course, in Canada, not like those winters, but it still gets pretty cold here. Dimitri Saraswati, hello, my friend. She says, hey, Nate, summer here in Australia and 4 a.m. Yes, you are always up and at 'em early. Or is it up late? Either way, I'm glad you're here. Taida says, Limbulk symbolizes the halfway point between the winter solstice, Yule, and the spring equinox, Ostara. The word Imbulk means in the belly of the mother, because the seeds of spring are beginning. How did I not know this? That is very cool. So yes, happy Imbulk. Am I saying that right? So yes, and okay, the stir in the belly of Mother Earth. Okay, that's a wonderful, yeah, and that's pretty much exactly what it's like, because as we look to nature, we see that nature, it goes dormant over winter, and it in many places, and it's the time for rest and recuperation and rejuvenation so that you can emerge into spring fresh and full of energy. And that is what the plants do, and that is what we must do. No way. 1999. Thank you very much, my friend. First tip of the day. Egg money. Hey, thanks. Definitely. And that's what I do. I go there, and they have a little refrigerator at their farm, and it's just randomly stocked. So sometimes I'll go there and there's none, especially over the winter. But then I'll go there. Recently, I've gone there and it's been packed full. So I'll get like 5 dozen. And oh, even though they're $3, I always give them like 4 at least, because it's still a deal for me. And I want them to be encouraged to continue doing it. You know, I think their kids are in charge of that aspect of it, you know, to teach the kids business and stuff like that, which is good. And so I want to support that, of course. Let's see here. Alarm always on for early start for you each week. Ah, yes. Thank you for setting the alarm. You know what I just found out how to do, but I didn't do it for this one, is to schedule the lives. So I'm going to start scheduling them. I don't know how many days in advance I should schedule them, but scheduling it just means that it's going to send, I think, maybe notifications, but I can schedule it like maybe a Wednesday. Maybe I'll do like Wednesday or Thursday so that people got a few days to keep it and they can set a reminder. You know, maybe that'll get us more, maybe that'll grow the group a little bit, huh? So that we have more knowledge base to draw from when we ask questions and stuff like that, which is important. Garth said, that's the mercury, wind chill down to negative 40 C. Yes, that's also 40 Fahrenheit. Isn't that crazy how it works? Negative 40 is the same in both. Let's see. I send you some premium poo if you want. I have plenty. I have quite a bit. So thank you, though. I appreciate such a generous offer. Approximately 3 quail eggs equal 1 chicken egg. Yes, and how long does it take? How many is a quail like a chicken? About, you can count on about 1 a day when they're in the laying. You know, you can count on about 1 a day, because that'd have to be a lot of quail, you know. And oh, hello, Rachel, Successful Garden Design. She says, in bulk. Didn't know that either. Very cool. Thank you. Yes, see? Taida says, in bulk was pronounced correctly as far as I have heard it. Okay, good. Shirojan Kitchen says, do you fermentation manure? How long? You can ferment manure, yes. The best way, well, by fermenting, I'm sure that you mean like digest in the barrel. So yes, you definitely can. The best one to do that with is fresh chicken manure. So if you guys did not get, if you didn't get the chance in the fall time to add the base fertilizer, meaning to incorporate the manures and stuff like that into the soil, and you just have to get some manure now, then yes, because it's so much faster to extract the nutrients in the barrel process, in the fermentation, and especially for the chicken manure. Now, here's the thing, guys. You'll see all over the place, people are like, oh, you have to let chicken manure, have to let it mellow out because it's too hot, it'll burn everything, which is sort of true for some things, but not necessarily, okay? So, but I mean, like when you have chickens, you don't see a bunch of dead spots all over the place. You see a bunch of fertilized spots, from their droppings and stuff. But still, the best way, chicken manure can be too high in salts for our garden to when we apply it fresh. So therefore the best way, well, first, let me explain to you what too hot means. Do you guys know what it means? Well, if you watch this channel, then you already know, but repetition is key. So when you hear that something is too hot and they say, oh, chicken manure is too hot. Well, what does that really mean? The temperature is not too hot. That's not what it means. And they say it'll burn the plants. Those are metaphors or figure of speeches that we use. So the plant, roots and the tissue of the plant, they absorb water and nutrients by osmosis. And so the plant tissue keeps a higher concentration of salt in the tissue of the plant than exists in the surrounding environment. And that's how, through osmosis, it sucks up the water and the nutrients. And so, because the solutions are always trying to reach equilibrium, the same concentrations. And so the plant knows this, of course, works with the laws of nature, and keeps the higher concentration of salts in its tissue. But if we apply something, and this is typically chemical fertilizers, but can also happen with chicken manure, if we apply something that has too many nutrients, what is called fertilizer salts, then there will become a higher concentration of salts in the surrounding environment than the plant can maintain in its tissue. And osmosis, the law, will still work in the same way. It will actually draw water and nutrients out of the plant. And that will cause, you will see on the furthest away leaf tips, the furthest from the roots, you will see what looks like a little burn, as if it was held, like a lighter was held on the tip of the leaf, because it's drawing those nutrients and water out of that part of the leaf. And so it dehydrates it and it dies. And so we say that's burn, that's nutrient burn. And that can be very bad for a plant. So what we have to do is make sure that we're not adding too much of the salts, the fertilizer stuff, the nutrients to the surrounding environment than the plant can maintain. Now, if we have a thriving soil food web, we don't hardly have to worry about that, because that's what it's all about. If the soil food web can digest the salts and process all of the stuff, we have nothing to worry about, okay? So the question was, do I ferment the manures? And chicken manure is the best one to ferment. You can ferment any of them if you need to apply it in that way, but you don't absolutely have to. Cow manure you can use pretty much fresh. Horse manure definitely you can use fresh, but guys, always make sure that you have a good source of these things, because unfortunately now in the world that we live in, we have to, the most ancient of all fertilizers is now sort of been compromised in many ways because of chemicals that people are spraying onto the crops. Broadleaf herbicides and things like Grazon and 2,4-D for other things. All of this stuff is very persistent, meaning that it goes through the digestive tract of the animal and remains active, doing what it's supposed to do, destroying the life, what it's supposed to do, even into the manure. So you can get the manure, use it in the garden, and now you've just applied a mild weed killer or a mild like Roundup type thing to your garden, and it can be horrifying, and it can take a long time to get out. So just make sure that you have a good source of your manures. So let us see here. Tree says, start with a hutch for 2 rabbits and end up with a townhouse in a year. Should have 40 by then. How long does it take to get a harvest of rabbits? I mean, I think I know this. I'm getting an idea of this, but so if I got some rabbits, and then how long would it be until I could start harvesting the rabbit or a couple of rabbits? Let's see. That guy Chris says, if you have a hard time sourcing trusted manure that is chemical free, you can do human manure easily if you're careful. Yes, you definitely can. There is no doubt about it. But getting it in any kind of quantity quickly and at one time can be challenging. So and it takes a while. You definitely want to ferment the human manure, in my opinion, definitely. Especially unless your diet is truly natural, then it won't matter so much. If your diet is like whole food in its natural state or as close to its natural state as possible, you have a thriving gut microbiome, you don't take antibiotics, you don't go to the doctor for every little thing and take medications for all kinds of any little thing, then yes, you can use it very much easily. But if you have a very toxic diet with lots of chemicals and medications and all of this, guys, antibiotics are horrifying for what they do for the gut microbiome, but also for the soil. And that's one reason that manure is so heavily regulated. If you look, the farmers can't just do like they used to do for thousands of years and take the manure and throw it on their field anymore. Because now a lot of people will say, oh, because it's too much nitrogen and it's going to make the algae blooms and stuff. That's not from manure. No, the issue with the manure really is the buildup of antibiotics. For most conventionally farmed stuff, it is so toxic. The environments that these animals have to grow in, are raised in, are so non-conducive to well-being that they have to pump them full of chemicals in order to keep them alive long enough to harvest from. And so all of these chemicals, these antibiotics, come out in the manures, and they, by their very nature, they kill microbial life. And so they build up in the soil as well. And so dumping, that's why the farmers have to, you can only put a certain amount of manure on the field per this and that, per regulations, because they know that this manure is now totally toxic. Still good things, and it can be broken down, but it's just sad that that has to even be a thought, a consideration. And let's see, Nate, is human manure something you might cover once you have the land? Absolutely, guys. When I get the land and start the school and all of that, absolutely that will be part of it. I mean, there will be every element of that kind of thing will be present. Yes. Total closed loops of everything. It's totally doable. And I know this. I've lived it. I've seen it all over the place for sure. So yes, that will definitely be part of it. And showing you guys how to do it like right from the beginning. And that guy Chris says, agreed, it's a long-term plan. Yeah, because it's easy if you just have a source. Like my buddy has got some horse stables, and they're like high-end. It's kind of high-end horses and stuff. And so I know they're feeding them, they pamper those things, and they source their hay from really, good sources and stuff like that. Source it from the Amish, and the Amish rely upon the health of their horses and upon the use of their manures and stuff. So I'm totally confident. I know for sure that it's a good, clean source, and they just put it all in a big pile. So I can just back the trailer up when I need it and get it. So that's great. Other than the fact that it's filled with weed seeds of weeds. But that's horse manure in general. So if you have a plan in place for that, though, it's awesome. Ms. P, imagine how those sprays have destroyed our gut microbiome, the grazing animals too. Absolutely, man, that is so much. Once I started really coming into the understanding of the gut microbiome and it's the brain-gut relation, and how the serotonins and things are created really by the microorganisms in the guts, how important it is. And then I see, just the more you learn, the more you see, it's almost like an all-out assault on our digestive system, which regulates our moods and our sense of well-being and our immune system. All of this stuff comes from the gut. And the microorganisms in the gut, I know this is hard to believe, but we have more microorganism cells in us than actual human tissue cells. We can have between 20 and 100 trillion microorganisms in the gut, in our body at any given time. Those are unfathomable numbers, guys. Here, listen to this, okay? This will give you an idea of how big a trillion really is. So how long ago do you think it was how long ago do you think it was 1,000,000 seconds ago? 1,000,000 seconds ago, how long was it? It was 11 days, okay? So if 1,000,000 seconds was 11 days, how long ago was 1,000,000,000 seconds? 1,000,000,000 seconds, the year was 1990. 1,000,000,000 seconds ago, okay? So now, 1,000,000,000,000 seconds ago, what was the year? A trillion seconds ago, the year was 29,000 BC. That's how big a trillion is. It's hard for the human mind to grasp. A trillion seconds is 32,000 years. And so we have between 20 and 100 trillion actual living organisms within our body right now at this moment. And so their health is crucial to our health. We are not actually a whole entity. We're really a community, a cohesive community of trillions of cells. Each one independently has its own life. It's wow. So this is why it's so important, guys, because the modern food and the modern the standard American diet is detrimental to those microorganisms. It doesn't have the things that our ancestors used to have, and it has way too much of the things designed to kill microorganisms, because food now is all about storage as long as possible. So anything, be wary of anything that sits on a shelf. Besides, like, of course, what I'm going to show you guys, this kind of stuff you make yourself is dehydrated. This is a totally different thing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about boxes and prepared stuff, bars and all of this stuff, cereals and all this stuff. Food, anyone who knows food, is that food is not meant to sit on a shelf. It goes bad so fast. And so that's what real food does. So anything that is designed to last too long is got preservatives, things designed to kill microorganisms. And our gut and our life depends upon these microorganisms. I mean, I could go on and on and on about that. So Tushi says 20,000 BC. Now apply that to the debt of a country. You got that right, my friend. I forget, what is the U.S. national debt? I mean, $21 trillion. I mean, do you think anyone is actually... That's never designed to be paid back. Money is totally made up, which things like that prove that it's just a concept. Money is just an agreement, that, okay, it's worth this much. Okay, well, we agree it's worth this much. But where it's created from nothing and backed by nothing. There's no like gold that is being moved or silver that is being moved. It's just all made up. Let's see here. That kind of debt takes us back to the dinos. Yeah, really. 31 trillion. 31. Is that the U.S. debt? 31 trillion. So see, guys, that's proof. I mean, it's all a joke. It's all just those kind of numbers. Think of that. I mean, live out in the country. Garden getting decimated by gophers. Any suggestion? Ooh, yeah, man. Gophers. Man, do you guys have suggestion for gophers? Common Link Productions asked that question. I also want to know because I know how we took care of them on the mountain, but we had a lot of time there, and it was just a different life, But for people like that can't do that, what do you think about what are some good gopher cures? Yeah, woodchuck, gophers. Let us know. Alexander says, is it sufficient for a raised bed depth of 40 centimeters for tomato, onion, etc.? Guys, you know I'm American, and 40 centimeters doesn't mean anything to me. So what is that in feet? So let's see. And I want to get to some questions. Definitely, there are some questions about seed starting and stuff. We will get to that. Mish, let me know if you're here, because I don't want to read your question and answer unless you're here. But if I don't hear from you, then I'll just do it anyways. So let's see here. Wow, yep, that's why I stacked physical silver. Oh, absolutely, physical. Guys, if you're into precious metals, you got to have it in hand, okay? You just got to have it in hand. That's what it's all about. So getting certificates, which is what most silver and gold is done with now, is a certificate. Okay, there's this much silver waiting for you. You own it, but I'm going to keep it in my vault over here. Like, okay, yeah, you really own it. If it hits the fan, hey, can I get my silver out of your safe? No, that just dissolves. So no, you have it in the hand, of course. And that's the way to do it. So, and Large live catch traps work for gophers and groundhogs if you don't want to kill them. Yes, that's true. That's true. They definitely do. But then it's like, okay, well, where are you going to take the gopher and dump it on someone, make it someone else's problem? You know, nobody likes the gophers. If you're trying to live like in the country and grow food and stuff like that. Okay, Rowdy Girl says 15.7 inches. Okay, so about 15 inches. Is it sufficient for, let's see, what were the things that he said? For tomato, onion, etc. 15 inches is sufficient if you can utilize the native soil underneath the raised bed. So if your raised bed is open to the ground and it's, okay, I see you, Mish. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it in just a moment then. So yes, the raised bed, if it's 15 inches, then if you have access to the soil underneath, then yes, totally adequate. Because then it just sort of acts like a good starting medium and like a mulch and stuff. But they will go into the bed or into the soil, way into the soil underneath. But if you are, so if you do it like that, you can get away with 6 inches even. It's just 6-inch raised bed, just to help with drainage and everything like that. And weed suppression and stuff. But if you have like a closed bottom, if the plants do not have access to the earth underneath them, 15 inches is not going to be really enough. Onions, maybe, if you keep them watered constantly, but that is going to dry out fast. It's not going to hold enough nutrients. It's not really going to, it's not really going to do what you want. I mean, for tomatoes and onions and stuff, if you don't have access to the soil below, you really want like 2 feet. I mean, that's really ideal, you know, because there's just going to be so much more buffering. The less amount of soil that you have is the more that you have to be on the watering game and on the nutrient game, because there's less to pull from, which here, I want to show you this right here. This is one of the points I wanted to make during this chat. So many people want to start their seeds in things like this. Okay, now these have their place, all right, especially if you're experienced. Then you already know like what kind of watering it's going to take. You already know about this. But I see people online and stuff like that. You know, I'm part of a number of different Facebook groups and stuff, and I see people starting 1 row of tomatoes in these, 1 row of squash, 1 row of well, anything else. And I'm just like, oh man, it's doomed for failure. But you know, I can't say that stuff. I'm not going to be like, you know, I can't do that. So, because nobody likes that. So they just want to do what they think is going to work. And then next year, we'll revisit this next year when you have massive failures, you know, this year. But for you guys, for the channel, though, we can bypass all of that. And you can just realize that this is not enough soil for almost anything. Okay, it can work for things like lettuces, salad greens, spinach, starting up mustard greens and stuff like that. It can work for leafy greens, okay? But anything else, this is a death sentence. This is how you see those plants that are all spindly and really long, you know, searching out the light, and also too much water, because they go in. Starting seeds indoors, they want a nice even moisture, even heat, even light. They don't want extremes, okay? Starting it up indoors. It's different than outside. So if we have this tiny little thing, and we have, once the tomato sprouts like this, it's only this big, it's already filled up that entire root space. And so it's gonna suck up the moisture, and then if you spend the night somewhere and you don't water for 24 hours and you come back and it's bone dry, they feel like they're made of styrofoam. You know, that stresses the plant out big time. And the plant it just doesn't like that, okay? So it never fully recovers. It will still probably grow and things, but you will not have that huge, vigorous, wonderful plants and thriving plants and produce that you would if you started up properly. So I do not recommend these for anything other than salad greens. And even then, you got to be on it, okay? What I recommend for most people is is going to be starting them up in the red solo cups, okay? That's going to be good for beginners and stuff, because the red solo cup, and I didn't bring one again, but the red solo cup, you know, the plastic red cup, has got so much soil space in it that you can plant something, and okay, there's more water and nutrients to draw from. So if you go spend the night somewhere and you don't water for 24 hours, not a problem, because there was so much already in there. You can go multiple days longer. You see what I'm saying? So the more soil space you have, the more forgiving it is. Now, if you are experienced and you've got your seed starting game down, as far as you know what the moisture is like, and you know what you got your lighting right, you got the temperatures right, then I'm going to recommend soil blocks. Okay, soil blocks are amazing in the sense that it doesn't require anything but the soil, and it's absolute minimal transplant shock. So even things like cucumbers that are super delicate and really once their roots get shocked, they just kind of stay stunted forever. You could, if you had to, start them up using soil blocks, because it doesn't disturb the roots nearly as much as having to work it out of a container and all of that kind of stuff. But even for salad greens, for really mostly anything, the soil blocker is going to be what you want, except for things like tomatoes. I mean, you can start them in here. I start them in soil blocks, but the tomatoes are one of the few things that we can grow up nice and big inside. So I'm going to read a question that I got from you guys. And okay, Mish says, I rewatched your When to Start Seeds video from 11 months ago and decided to put the brakes on indoor starts besides onions and sweet potatoes. Good job. My last frost date is supposedly April 24th, but 3 times in the past 10 years we've had snow on Easter. So I've decided to play safe and wait till mid-April for the heat-loving plants and start them the beginning of March. My question is, what about tomatoes? Isn't it best to have nice tall starts to put out in the garden? Or using soil blocks, is it best to start them only 6 weeks before plant date? Okay, so a number of things there. One is that good job on waiting, because that's always the best option for most things, other than the onions, ginger, sweet potato, and like you said, tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the things that if you have the right setup, which I saw your setup and it looks pretty good, so yes, you can grow them up, because tomatoes, you can, even if they're long, but you want them to be long and vigorous. You don't want them to be long and spindly, okay? But even then, you can, tomatoes are one of the few plants that will put roots out from any point along the stem. So if it's this long, you know, before you plant it out, you just bury it up and you guys, I'll show you guys a video, but you can just bury it. So, and all of that will create more root system for the tomato plant. And so that is what I recommend for tomatoes. You can start them up in the soil blocks, but unless you're going to up pot them to something, they're going to need more root space, definitely, because they'll get about like this, you know, maybe about like this tall in the soil blocks, but then you're going to want to put them into like a 4-inch pot or something of that nature, because there's just not quite enough soil to grow something up long-term in a soil block. You know, soil blocks are ideal for 4 to 6 weeks of growth. But for things like tomatoes and peppers, if you want to grow them up bigger inside, you're going to want to transplant it then into a bigger pot. And so let's see, before I answer her next question, let's see here what you guys are saying. Lucas, thank you for the onion video. I planted like 2 days before though. Ha, that's funny. Yes, many people did, and that's fine, but it's actually really hard to find the information on long day versus short day. Most people just tell you where the dividing line is, but they don't tell you why. And I feel like the why is so important. That's why I had to explain the why. Patricia says, my first time using soil blocks and I'm planting my cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. Looking forward to seeing how I like this. Less plastic is appealing to me. Absolutely, yes. Cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli, those are good things to start in the soil block, definitely. And it uses less plastic, and it's so much gentler on the plants. It really is. And you won't have as much issue with molds and stuff like that. Stunted from the beginning, says Chad. Yeah, that stunted from the beginning. They never fully recover. And I know this from tens of thousands of plants in the high stakes gardening game. So just popped out my first soil blocks. Nice. You got like 2 weeks max in those small cells. Right, exactly. In those small little cells, 2 weeks. Yeah, that's about right. 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your setup and all of that. But I see people trying to do, like, you know, squash and stuff like that. And they're like, what do you think is wrong? I'll see a picture. What do you think is wrong with my seedlings? And it's like, they're like 2 feet long and they're like as thin as pencil lead, you know, and they're all just yellow and the soil looks just soaking wet. And there's like one little incandescent light bulb on it and it's in a dark, dingy basement and their cat's chewing on it, you know. And it's like, guys, just start over. Just start over. Okay, don't worry about it. I mean, they've got all these things that are, you know, struggling to grow. You're not going to gain anything by that. So revamp your setup. Just cut your losses. Revamp your setup and start fresh. Okay, and your plants and you will thrive much better for that. So when a lot of people look at my garden, they're like, man, Jurassic is the word that comes to mind a lot. I hear that word, man, this looks Jurassic. Yes, because all the way from the beginning, you give it everything that it needs to reach its full genetic potential. So I want to answer Mish's other question. And she says, she wants to know about starting up indoors. So which one should I start up indoors out of her list? Is watermelon, cantaloupe, dill, basil, leeks, chamomile, calendula, echinacea, bergamot, sunflowers. So watermelon and cantaloupe are definitely best sown in place because they grow so rapidly that whatever container you put them in, for the most part, they will outgrow. So the watermelon and cantaloupe, I highly recommend planting in place. Now that being said, if you're good, if you've got your seed starting game down, and you've got the heat and the lighting and all of that, you can start those in the soil block, the watermelon and the cantaloupe, if you feel like you need to, and just until they sprout a little bit, and then gently put them in there. But we're only talking like 2 weeks because they grow so quick. So watermelon, cantaloupe, I recommend direct seeding, definitely. Dill, basil, chamomile, all three of those you can start in the soil blocks, definitely. I love starting those. And the basil and the dill and the chamomile especially, because it is so delicate. The flowers are just so delicate, like cobwebs at first. Or I mean, the plants are. And they can get trampled over as soon as the cat starts rolling on it or whatever it is. So you really, basil, dill, and chamomile will do great started up indoors. And they can transplant easily. Calendula, beyond any doubt, direct seed. That's all you got to do. Calendula is ridiculous. You can seed calendula. Calendula is great for green manures and biomass a lot of times as well because it reseeds itself in the Scott Murray, $20. Thanks for being you. Thank you very much, Dad. I appreciate it. Let me know if you got a question. You can type that in with the donation. So the calendula is really good to start from seed. So calendula will grow. You can plant it now, anytime, and it will just sit there dormant in the soil. Even if the soil is totally frozen, if you sprinkle calendula seeds out there, when the time is right and the conditions are right, they will sprout and they will grow and they will flower. And then in the same season, they will drop seeds and regrow more plants, even 2 or 3 times in the same season. It's crazy. They can be somewhat invasive, but they're wonderful. They are a good trap plant, the calendula. They trap aphids, and a number of other bugs love to go to them instead of to the other plants. And you can make all kinds of stuff. You guys have told me of all kinds of cool salves, and herbal remedies and stuff like that from the calendula. It's wonderful. I like it for tea. I do it all different kinds in tea. So definitely direct seed. Now echinacea, okay, we're almost done with her list. She's got 3 more. Echinacea is you have to remember that Echinacea generally does not flower its first year. Yeah, and I was very much dismayed when I came to realize that. So it sets down, it's a perennial, the Echinacea, and it sets down roots its first year, and it will put down a bunch of leafy growth its first year, and then when it comes back, its second year and beyond is when it flowers. And so now the other thing about Echinacea is that generally it needs to be stratified, so it needs to be vernalized. It needs to be cold. So you have to put them in a moist paper towel and keep them in the refrigerator for like, because you're in Texas, so keep them in the refrigerator for like 3 to 4 weeks. Then bring them out and plant them, and then that will do it. That'll bring them out of dormancy. So then bergamot, I have zero experience with bergamot, so I can't say either way definitively. Sunflowers, definitely plant in place. Definitely. Again, they grow so big and vigorous. For the most part, the bigger the seed, you just plant them outdoors. Squash, stuff like that. You plant outdoors. Sunflowers, watermelon, cantaloupe. Those things grow so quickly that they'll outgrow your space fast. And once those plants, and cucumbers I'll put in with that same one. Once those plants get stunted, they never fully recover. They just pout. Let's see. Shiva the Destroyer. Yeah, that is the cat. Definitely. Taida says that's the perfect name for a cat. Definitely for this cat. And I'm gonna have to come up with like a fencing thing, because there's no way when I plant the onions outside and stuff, because she wasn't here in the spring of last year really. So when I plant the onions and stuff outside, there's no way she'll go out there and just battle all over, roll into the onions and dig up everything. Just as she's staring at me, she'll just stare right at me and go out there and just dig up all my plants. I've seen her doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to keep her out. So Tree Rogi says, "You gonna talk about ginger today? ? Bought some organic this week. Nice. Well, I pretty much said everything that needs said in the video, but if you have a question about it, let me know, because I know ginger." Okay, Mish, I hope that answered your question. If you have anything else, you can contact me in the same way. No problem. And let me know. So let's see. Val says, using the solo cups, do we have to transplant the tomato into another larger container? No. That's another big benefit of the solo cups, is that nothing needs to be transplanted out of the solo cups. So you do not have to up pot. The tomatoes can get big in the solo cups. I've had them be 2 feet long and with a stalk as thick as my thumb before planting out in the solo cup. So just remember, the bigger it gets, the quicker it uses up nutrients, the quicker it uses up water. And so no, that's the huge advantage, especially for the beginner, and why I recommend it. Watch my budget seed starting setup video if you guys want to see how I take the hot nail and poke it through all of the cups at once. And that's so good for the beginners, because there's so much more leeway for error. And I take a wire coat hanger that's about a foot long, straighten it out, I put it in my vise, then I take the blowtorch to the wire coat hanger and take the whole stack of cups and just and do that 3 holes in each one. So yeah, that's the way to go. Just joined. Hello, Andy Logue. Great cat animation. Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Looking at me like, what are you gonna do? Digging up all the onions and everything, and literally just batting them all around like she's just really aggressively angry that I planted something in her litter box garden. Let's see. Val says, thanks, Nate. I feel so much better about seedling planting this year. I know a lot more because of you. Ah, wonderful, my friend. That's what it's all about. So yeah, you'll have much better success this year, and some failures possibly, but nothing is really a failure if we learn from it. So that is how we acquire direct knowledge. Yes. And because information is not knowledge. Information put through the catalyst of experience becomes knowledge. Then we know. Let's see. Taida says, that must feel very satisfying, the cup stack impalement. Oh, it does, totally. Because it just, it goes down to each one and you can feel it. Yeah, if you like my cat impersonation or the sound effects or anything like that, you can check out my other channel, The Saga of Nate Murray, where I act out a lot of my travels. I show pictures and stuff like that. You know, it's a totally different kind of thing. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. These videos are more about like traveling, and like I try to put a lesson in each video, and it's more like a creative outlet for me. Like, so I act and stuff like that, you know, just clowning around. They're funny. You will laugh probably, but also learn stuff. So if you want that, The Saga of Nate Murray, which I think I'm going to change that channel to The Nate Murray Show. Yeah, because I need a channel called The Nate Murray Show. And I think it's a better term for it. Okay, Dimitri says, Karma and I use chicken wire and build a tunnel from it to keep out neighborhood cats. Chicken wire and build a tunnel from it. Build a tunnel from it. I'm not sure. Oh, you mean like put it over it like that? Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. That's probably what I'm going to have to do, something like that. I was thinking of just taking chicken wire, pounding small T-posts, and just stretching chicken wire around the whole perimeter. But she'll probably jump right over it or something, or dig on. I don't know. I'm going to have to spray her. If I spray her with the garden hose a couple times, she'll get the idea. So let's see. Massive Overkill says, turmeric planting basically same as ginger? Yes. Yep, you can do turmeric planting the same way that you do ginger. They're very similar, tropical rhizomes. And let's see. SC says, thank you, Scott and Mrs. Murray, for giving us Nate. Oh, that's lovely. I'm sure they will appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. Let's see here. Perennials. Lori says, perennials. General rule of thumb is a saying. First year it sleeps, second year it creeps, third year it leaps. Wow, that's interesting. I have not heard that, but that could make sense. Yes. Meaning spreading and going to seed and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds cool. No Way says, I freeze them in ice cubes, then put ice cube in the pot. I'm not sure what that is talking about, but that's all right. So, let's see. And we must feel very satisfied. I use a soldering iron. It works great. Oh, yeah, soldering iron could work, definitely, yes. But you can't do so many with the, if the longer the thing, you can just do the whole stack. That's what I like. And I have 2 cats. Kaz says, I have 2 cats. I lay chicken wire over the new plants. Do you support it by anything? I mean, do you keep it off the ground, or you just put the chicken wire over it and then let the plants grow through it? Yeah, no, that wouldn't really work because it must be some other way. I love what you do. My new favorite channel. Thank you very much, my friend. Glad you're here. I like to feed the little seedling a tea made with banana peel and a dash of baking powder in rainwater. How does that work for you, Frank? Because that's actually, and this, don't feel bad, but that's actually something that if I made a video about garden myths, the banana peel tea would definitely be one of them, because it is not actually, nothing has become plant available yet. The garden peel tea is a, yeah. I mean, this is nothing against you, but I'm saying the garden peel tea is sort of a gimmick. That it doesn't actually do what people think that it does. It's got potassium in it, yes, but cucumbers have much more potassium than bananas do. I know that's hard to believe, but it doesn't even matter because none of the stuff in the banana peel tea is in any way available to the plant. It has to be broken down by the soil food web first. It has to go through a whole process. And even then, you run the risk of the banana being sprayed with sprout inhibitors. Even organic bananas. Guys, organic has almost been to a varying degrees, it's been compromised in the sense that there's sprout inhibitors, there's organic sprout inhibitors now, okay? So that's why even organic bananas can have this stuff in it. So you're feeding this stuff to the plant and it can sort of impair growth. And they spray them with different kind of things to keep them from turning brown prematurely. And so for that reason, if you want a nice tea for the seedlings, watch my video on the ultimate seedling fertilizer, which is essentially a humic acid extract, a compost extract, which has everything that the plant is going to want in plant available conditions. It's already been digested by the soil food web. It's already there, and that's what we want. Okay. I saw a question about humic acid. If somebody wants to ask that question again, I can answer it. Okay. Let's see. Are you concerned about toxoplasmosis in the cat poo? I keep my cat indoors. She's fine. No, I'm not the slightest bit concerned because this cat has never had one bite of the toxic garbage that we call cat food. This cat only eats raw meat like they're designed to eat. And so I feed her for $8 a month is all it really costs. I feed her one whole chicken leg with the bone in at night, and it's frozen. And it takes her all night. She gnaws into it. And sometimes I'll give her a little bit of the raw beef liver or a little bit of raw, if we're doing like steak or something and I trim the fat off, I'll give her that, you know. But she only gets raw meat, like the actual predator, what they're supposed to eat in nature. And for that reason, I never see her feces dissolves like immediately. It's actually a great fertilizer. There's nothing wrong with it. The cat and dog manure, when they eat a toxic diet, is when it doesn't decompose properly, and it has all kinds of weird smells, and it has all kinds of weird stuff in it because the animal was never meant to eat like that. And their gut microbiome, dry food and stuff like that, does nothing for the gut microbiome of the predator. And so I feed her, as I will the dogs when I get the dogs, raw, only raw. And so, no, I have absolutely zero concern. It's a fertilizer. Let's see. Nick Pavlikov says, what is a good juicer for wheatgrass? The Omega. The Omega is the ultimate juicer for wheatgrass. If that's, I mean, it's slow and but it's very powerful. And I juice the wheatgrass often. And you can see this one's a little bit past its prime. I actually been letting the cat eat on this one because she loves this one. So they will eat, even though I just ranted about, raw meat for the predator, they will eat this stuff occasionally. It's something about the digestion, what it does for them. So she loves to eat this stuff a little bit here and there. But yeah, I juice this stuff, put it through the Omega. You also can, they make hand crank ones. I got my mom a juicer, a masticating juicer recently, and I'm just not really that impressed with the quality of it, so I can't recommend it. I would recommend the Omega juicer, though, definitely. And let's see here. Let's see. Rowdy Girl says, my oncological nutritionist told me that organic produce is still sprayed. It's just with certified organic pesticides, herbicides, and sprout inhibitors. They're finally catching on. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the game, that's why, I don't ever want to badmouth organic because it's still better than non-organic, but it's not what it used to mean. A lot of people, when they think organic, they think that it means what we do, where this is totally way beyond organic. This is natural farming, where we're making our own inputs from things that are easily acquirable. Yes, we're not purchasing much of anything. I mean, we purchase some sodium and potassium hydroxide to make the stuff, but yes. So it can be sprayed with all kinds of stuff, and that is why, and there's so much more money in it, for the farmers. So yeah, they're Ms. P, $4.99. Thank you very much, my friend. Third tip of the day. The worker deserves his wage. Thanks for sharing your time and knowledge. I appreciate that. Yes, I feel the same way. You guys giving me the tip is like it is definitely a symbolic representation of your time, because this takes my time, and so it's a exchange of times, because time is really our only commodity, right? And what we do with it is everything. Let's see. No way says, you stream from phone, saving for the farm, ? Oh, dude, I am extremely frugal. I only spend money on what needs to be spent on. But what needs to be spent on, I'm not afraid to get the good quality stuff. I get good quality stuff. But I only spend it if necessary. No, never frivolous or anything like that. So yes, I'm just streaming from the phone. And yes, saving for the farm. And let's see here. I feed my dogs homemade raw, just around 56 pounds with some veggies and fruit. What a job, but worth the effort. Yeah, definitely. And when I get the farm, I will be raising the dog's food, of course. I will be butchering, and they will get the organs and all the good stuff. Nick Jones says, yes, raw meat and organs is the only way to go for dogs. Absolutely. Dogs, cats, any of the predators, that is what they are designed to eat. Definitely. They can eat other things as well, but the dog is, oh man, I forget the exact figure. It's 99.6% wolf. Genetically speaking, all dogs, even your tiny little lap dog, is 99.6% wolf. I'm going to double check that, but I have this dog. I read this big book about dogs. It's a fantastic, amazing book called The Genius of Dogs, among a couple of other ones. But let's see. Successful garden design. Rachel says, yep, my dog is on raw. So much better for them. Absolutely. People comment all the time. Man, her coat is so soft and fluffy. You must groom her a lot. I've never once groomed that cat. I've never had to, because it's just as soft as silk. And she's never had fleas. She never has anything like that, because she has all the proper, you know, when the body is, it's like us, when the body is functioning properly with a good gut microbiome and good quality nutrients, what the body was designed to eat, then we just don't really get sick, because we're not designed to get sick. We're designed to thrive. And so are the other cats and dogs and other animals, you know. Link, what's up, my man? Says, yo, Nate, I have terrible audio problems with students that use computers, at least on Zoom. Phones are always better. Yeah, they are. Man, they've come so far with the phone. It's just so easy, you know, and I can plug this microphone into it and you get the good quality sound, because to me, sound is so important. You can deal with subpar visual with this kind of video, but you have to have clear sound. It has to sound like we're in the same room having a conversation. If it sounded like I was talking like down the hallway, like most people's phones, and you can't really follow them, no, man, that's ridiculous. To even consider doing a channel with that kind of audio is ridiculous. So I saw there was a tip here in a moment. Nick Pavlikov, $9.99, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the tip. And Zach with the C says, all commodities as values are only particular masses of coagulated labor time. Karl Marx. That's a quote from Karl Marx. Makes sense. I mean, you are trading units of your life for currency. Yes, that is what hourly work is, or any work in many ways. Yeah, and that reminds me, guys, I got to go through the list real quick. To all you guys that are helping to support the channel through using the link in the description to the YouTube or to the PayPal account for those donations. Also, the guys just doing the super thanks and all of that is super appreciated, guys. It allows me to spend more time and effort doing these videos, because I'm moving into doing YouTube full time now, and it will only expand. You know, all of this will only expand. I'll be writing a book and stuff like this, and so all of this stuff will only expand. You know, and this. You guys are helping. So I just want to read your name. It's in no particular order. Mish the Fish, thank you very much for your continued support. Samantha S, Carly D, Kevin S, and Kevin, yeah, I saw your big comment about on the mushroom video, and I will get back to that. Yes, I appreciate that, because that's a really good insights. So I will, I haven't forgot about that. Carl J, Crystal J, thank you both very much, my friends. Someone called 17 Soaps, Leslie C, and Leslie G, Charles A, Nguyen Hong, I hope I'm saying that right. Aaron S, Joanne, of course, thank you always. Dorina R, Lincoln D, Scott M, of course, Denise P, Peter P, South Post, Frankie V, and Elena, of course, always. Thank you very much, guys. Even if I can't respond, like in the PayPal donation thing, I always see it. And so I just want to let you know I appreciate it. Miss KC, $1.99. See, thank you very much as well, my friend. Fleety Lebunga says, throw a like also is free and helps. Yeah, definitely. Like the videos, leave a comment, stuff like that. It all helps, you know. And because obviously I want to grow the channel, but also the more people that are involved, the more resources we have to draw from, knowledge base wise. When we need a question or something like that, then it's great. And Ingrid says, my dad had a dairy ranch and also raised hounds. This was in the 1950s and commercial food wasn't available. So they fed roadkill and butchered meat from the farm. Absolutely. That is the way to do it. That is totally the way to do it, and a way that a lot of people and cultures still do it, of course. But you know, in nature, it's like us though. When the people that eat the natural food, like the body was designed to eat, have such a almost non-existent cases of cancer and any of these other kind of things, cardiovascular disease, all this stuff that is developed by the modern lifestyle comes from what we are consuming. It really does. And is the same with the animals as well. Animals in nature don't get cancers and all kinds of bizarre stuff and have kidney issues and all that stuff. These are only animals that have come under our care. Like little dogs and stuff have all kinds of issues because they're eating the garbage food that they were never designed to eat, just like most people are doing, especially people that subscribe to the SAD, Standard American Diet. And that's where the issues come from. If I could just yell this from a mountaintop and everyone would be like, okay, makes sense, then that would just be great, you know, but that's not profitable. I mean, healthy animals don't go to the vet. Healthy animals are not profitable. Healthy people are not really profitable, you know, in the terms of keeping you enslaved into the healthcare system. Mick Hegarty, thank you very much, my friends, $5. How many trays do you end up using for your indoor seedlings? How do you determine how many blocks to make? Where'd it go? How do you determine how many blocks to make of each seed? Well, that obviously that depends upon your garden, your setup, and your space. But in general, I will plant about 50%, maybe let's say if I'm gonna plant 10 plants of something into the garden, if I have a spot for 10 of them, I will plant about 13, maybe 15 seedlings. And then I will choose the strongest 10 from those and then discard or give the rest away or eat them or whatever it is, or keep them in case something happens. But so in general, 30 to 50% more than what you're going to plant out, so you can get the best, strongest ones. And when it comes to planting, err on the side of giving them a little bit more room than you might think. It's better to have 10 collard green plants spaced 3 feet apart than to have 15 of them spaced, you know, 1.5 feet apart, or 20 of them spaced 1.5 feet apart. You get what I'm saying? So that they're all crunched in. You will actually get much more and a higher quality produce and more disease and pest resistance if you just plant the 10 collard greens 3 feet apart and let them grow up and have plenty of space than if you tried to put in 20 plants in the same space. Now they're all crowded. Now they're going to get powdery mildew. Now they're going to have disease. And once the plant starts to become ill, it sends signals out into the ethos to attract predators, because that's how nature does it. Nature only wants the strongest ones to survive. And so that's how it keeps it tight and strong. And so once the plant starts to become ill, it will call out to the insects, hey, come and eat me, destroy me. And it sacrifices itself for the greater good. And so you don't want that to happen, though, in your garden. You don't want all your plants to be saying, hey, come sacrifice us because we got this horrible life over here. You want them to say, no, we are here, we are strong, we are full of virility and vitality, and you are not welcome here, the pest. You know, the insects are not welcome. The insects cannot destroy, for the most part, cannot destroy the thriving, healthy plant. Okay? So let's see here. Fleety says, sage advice right there. Principles I live by. Start more than you need and share the ones you don't need to share the love. Absolutely. That is where it's at. And always people are like, oh man, I wish I had a few more of this or that. Oh, I got some, no problem. You know, start them up. So yeah, I hope that I finished that question. 30 to 50% more, and how many trays? You know, that's a big question. I'll do a tour once my seed starting gets all set up and in swing. I'll do a tour of it, you know, so that you guys can see. Patricia says, this may be a crazy question, but do you have an indoor litter box? I do. Yeah, I do have an indoor litter box. Although she goes outside every day, and mostly she prefers outside. She prefers wherever I've just planted something. That's the preferred area. Wherever is the most delicate is where she prefers. So yeah, that's still totally worth having though, because I had an infestation of mice and rats 2 years ago. Oh my goodness. Because I had all the produce, the winter squash. I had like 25 winter squash, all kinds of potatoes and all kinds of stuff in the basement. And that attracted mice and rats. And it was unbelievable. It was just immediate infestation. They were in the walls and up in the roof and stuff. And I just couldn't believe how fast it became infested. And then I got this cat, and just like that, none. I've not seen one mouse, nothing. They all moved out immediately. Although I've seen her, you know, she kills them and eats them. She straight up eats them, you know. So I'll just find like a head is all that's left. But it's wonderful. So whatever, changing the litter box or any of that kind of, the plants she knocks over and stuff, totally worth it. Because she doesn't destroy the food. And that's what the rodents do. Let's see. And also putting my herbs in containers to put around the garden to help with pests. Good. Yes, Rowdy Girl, that is a good thing to do. Definitely. You can interplant things, definitely, that have good pest repellent qualities. That helps. And Zach with the C, $5. Thank you, my friend. He says, this is my favorite YouTube channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, my friend. That's an honor to be considered your favorite YouTube channel, because there is 55 million YouTube channels. And so it's tough to really grow now, I think. Well, that's what they say, but this channel's been growing pretty good. I'm going to have a shot of clove oil, 1 drop of clove oil, because my throat's getting a little bit dry and hoarse. 1 drop of the clove oil. Yes. I'm going to gargle with it, and it does wonders for the throat. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, very, wow. It just feels like Christmas and, you know, Thanksgiving time, and the clove oil immediately calms down the scratchy throat that I was feeling, all of that stuff. Nice, clove oil. Make sure you're getting good. If you guys are into essential oils, though, make sure you get the good pure stuff like doTERRA or Young Living. Those are really good ones, because you don't want contaminated essential oils. Let's see, Juno, that face means it works. Yeah, exactly. Right on. I should get some clove oil. Oh, definitely. You can use clove oil as one of the old school remedies, guys. You can get the clove oil and rub it on the gums if you have like toothaches, or you can rub it on muscles, or I take it internally, and it's super antiviral, antimicrobial, all the good stuff. And let's see. And did I miss one? I don't know. Let me see here. I think Taida. Oh, that's right. Taida, $5. Thank you very much. See, I can sense if I miss one. So excited to be on this journey with your knowledge. So much learning. Thank you very much, my friend. Yes. And guys, I would like to see pictures of you guys' gardens at some point. So if you follow the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account, then you can tag me in those. That would be great. Or mention me. If you make a little video, this would be really cool. If you made a video, put it on your channel, just of your garden, maybe even of your face, and smiled or said something, then mention me in the title or the comments, you know, at Garden Like a Viking, so that then I will be notified and I will see, and I'll be able to watch it. That would be really cool. So I would appreciate that. And 2 best oils. I sold doTERRA for 3 years. Love that stuff. Yeah. Oh man, they're very, very good. Oh snap, would that help my ankle tendon pain? I could just rub it on there. The tendons are just super sensitive to stretches, and if I overstretch, they tingle for hours. Well, that sounds like a bit of a deeper problem, but yes, it would temporarily, topically be able to help. It numbs up. It's sort of like an analgesic. Is that you know, when they shoot the stuff into your gums in the dentist and you can't feel anything? This is a mild, natural form of that. Yeah, very much. So like right now, my whole throat, I don't feel any scratchiness anymore. I don't feel any of that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Strong and established. Yes, Jesse. Salt and clove mash in mortar and pestle makes 17th century toothpaste. What? I have not heard of that. Do they have to be fresh cloves? They might have to be fresh cloves. Link says, gotta try that. I've been using the oregano oil when I need it. Oregano oil is another very good one. Super powerful antimicrobial. Definitely good. 1 drop in water. Drink it like that. Clove oil's on the same spectrum as that. Okay. Let me show you guys another couple of things. And if you've got your seed starting set up and you want to dial it in, it's good to do a few runs of microgreens. So let me show you here. Now this tray is some red Russian kale and some other some cabbages of some kind, I forget. But the red Russian kale had a real poor germination rate for some reason, but it tastes delicious. But the cabbage is wonderful, and it's just starting to. I need to pretty much be picking it, but get you a couple runs of the microgreens, and that will let you know if your system is relatively dialed in. If you can't grow the microgreens, you won't be able to grow the sprouts. But look, if you want to see what it looks like when you super heavily overseed your sunflower seeds, because I got some new sunflower seed microgreens because they were out of the big ones, so I got the tiny ones and I planted way too many in there. And you can see how it kind of you see how they're just like falling over because there's so many of them. They're crowding each other out. That's not good. I'm still gonna eat them all, but I'm gonna seed it by about half next time. This is cilantro microgreens. So sprout the cilantro. It's a lot slower than the other ones, but super good. So I'm actually gonna let this grow up nice and big, and we'll harvest this stuff. So yeah, get you some microgreen seeds. Do a couple of rounds of that. And I didn't get any videos about microgreens this year, but next year they're coming for sure. You know. What Jesse says, where's everyone growing at? I'm in the desert of Arizona. I got a lot of people from Arizona for some reason, like a big percentage. I wonder why. Let's see here. Look at all the stuff in the mirror. We are never getting through all that. Ha! Yeah, I know. That's funny. Yeah, I just have all kinds of stuff here because, you know, in case there's like not questions or something, stuff I just want to show you guys. Things like this, guys, because look, this is just, if you watch the fermented tomato video, this is just fresh tomatoes, fresh basil, garlic, and sea salt and water, and that's it. And I put a little bit of the labs as a starter. But look, I did it on September 4th. And these are still delicious, man. When I have people over for dinner, they're like, where's those tomatoes at? And they try it and they're like, oh my goodness. Because it's so unique. There's nothing else like these fermented tomatoes. And just so that you know, these are the purple bumblebee tomatoes from Baker Creek. And those, guys, I cannot recommend highly enough the purple bumblebee tomatoes. I know I've said this before, but the flavor is so complex and so deliciously sweet. Sweet, but also that tart. They're just unlike any other tomatoes, and they resist cracking. When all the other Cherokee purples and the Thornburn terracotta and even some of the Romas were all cracking, these never crack. You know, and they're delicious, and they grow in the heat and the cool. They don't really care. They're just a phenomenal. I highly recommend the purple bumblebee. And you can just do this. This just sits out in the basement like this. Imagine that. Fresh tomato. I'm still eating fresh tomatoes. These were not in the refrigerator. There's no preservatives. There's no nothing. This is living food. So talking about that 20 to 100 trillion microorganisms in the gut, this is what they eat. They eat this kind of fiber, which are prebiotics. and becomes probiotic. So yes, a lot of the microorganisms die in the digestive tract and in the stomach juices, but many of them don't, because we're talking billions and billions. Many of the microorganisms in something like this go dormant in the pH environment of the stomach, and then they reawaken on the other side once the pH changes in the intestine, and then they repopulate the intestines. That's how it works. A lot of people are under the misconception that, well, the stomach just destroys all of it anyways. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And so this is like medicine food, and it stays out. You don't got to take up refrigerator room. Everyone should be doing this. I'm very passionate about that, in case you can't tell. Ever make ginger bug drink? It's a favorite here. Just need ginger, sugar, water, and about a week for naturally fizzy ginger soda. My friend, the spray can art, she sent me a little thing on that. So I haven't forgotten you, my friend. I just saw that. But thank you very much for sending that to me. I'm definitely going to be making some of that stuff. I just have not yet. But I'm super excited to get into it. So yeah, guys, if you make any other kind of good fermented stuff, let me know. What it is. Rowdy Girl, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate your support. Jerry, what's up, buddy? Would placing liquid fertilizers 5 inches deep work okay for fish and leaf mold types? Would placing liquid fertilizers 5 inches deep work? Are you talking about in like a driller? Are you talking on a heavy machinery type thing? Or because we could just apply it to the soil surface if we're just applying it. But if you're talking about like with a drill, with a planter or something, yes, that would be totally helpful. It would be ideal to do like a microbial solution with the fish fertilizer. Mix it all together and boom, 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 boom. Drill it straight in there would be great. Let's see. Link says they were out of the purple bumblebee at Baker Creek. It's because I recommend it to everybody I know. So I got me some, I believe it's called blue bumblebee. Oh, that would be a first. I've not seen it. I know they have pink bumblebees. Blue, maybe that's cool. But they have pink bumblebees. I know that, which I think would be similar. It's from the same plant breeders. But yeah, it's, let's see. Love that goblet to your left. I have its twin, but it's silver. Is that one silver? This one is brass. No, this one is brass. There's another silver one over there, but I can't reach it. So, and hey, Nate, are you a believer in Punxsutawney Phil? Punxsutawney Phil. I'm not familiar with that person or whatever that is. Explain it to me. Val says, for sunflower micros, a tip I learned about getting rid of the seeds, just spray them with water to release the seeds. Oh, definitely, yeah. To get rid of the sunflower seeds, I will just run my hand across them, basically. Just But these ones, this is my first time growing the small sunflower seeds. Usually it's the large ones, and they're much easier, more vigorous. But I just way overplanted them. But I typically don't like to overhead water any of the microgreens because the molds. It's just that's your number one battle indoors is the molds. So that's why I just like to bottom water, you know. Juno says, I heard that if you fertilize with the water-soluble calcium solution for K and F, it makes fruits extra hard and resistant to cracking. Yes, absolutely. It helps to do that. High fertilizer or high calcium definitely does. It helps it to keep longer. Watch my video where I show how to make that. I show how to make the water-soluble calcium, and I explain many of these things. So let's see. Groundhog Day, groundhog. 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah. It's going to warm up a bit here, though. I don't know where it is where you guys are. Let's see here. So we're going to be coming to an end before too long. So if you guys got any burning questions, we can answer them. Juno says, dang, I need to get on that level with the homemade food. Oh, yeah, definitely, guys. Look, these are the purple bumblebees as well, dehydrated. And they store all winter long, no problem. And you can just put them into the soups or the stews, whatever it is, and they will rehydrate. And they are delicious. When you dehydrate these type of tomatoes, the cherry type, you cut them in half, put them cut side up. And then that will allow them to reduce and keep all that moisture and those sugars and all that good flavor in there, okay? Don't cut them and put them face side down. That will remove so much of the flavor. Another thing I do with tomatoes. So these are Roma tomatoes, dehydrated with, okay, so I take Roma tomatoes and I dehydrate them. And then I smoke onions and garlic, and then I dehydrate those, smoked onions and garlic. And then I put in oregano and basil as well, all dehydrated. And so, man, it is a pasta sauce. Oh man, if you smell this, it just smells like just oregano and the tomatoes and the smoke from the garlic and onions. And so then I will take this whole thing and powder it, blend it all up, and it becomes like if you're making like a rice or something like that, you can add this with it, and it makes that Italian spice flavoring basically. And it just smells so delicious, and it tastes so delicious. A couple different, they're mostly Roma tomatoes. And then this, which I've showed you guys before, but I just want to show you, man, it is February and I've still got these. These are Hungarian paprikas that I smoked as well with some smoked onions and garlic. And wow, man, oak wood. I smoked these with oak, and it just smells like campfire mixed with a little bit of sweetness, mixed with the slight capsicum pepper smell. And that I will blend up as needed. You know, I'll blend up enough to last about a month, and I sprinkle that into food. Ask my family. They love this stuff, man. They think it's really good. These are smoked poblanos. Now, a whole different kind. These are also called ancho chilies. Whoa, yeah, much more strong, kind of that Mexican sort of, cooking type. But these, I put it in everything. The smoke flavor is just beyond. It's beyond anything that you can buy from the store. It's just so good. But you want to smoke them a long time, and you want to use big blocks of wood, not those little wood chips. You want get a little charcoal fire going, and then the big blocks of wood. That's what gives the best smoke. And I don't soak it in water or nothing. So, okay, guys, what's up, Deacon? MGD says, blessings. I came in late, but any time here is always worth it. Glad you're here, my friend. Let's see. You could just make a new channel where you smell things and describe them. Take me there. Yeah, really. Definitely. Tushi says, you got to show us how to smoke veggies. Definitely we'll be doing that this year, because I also make a smoked poblano fermented hot sauce, which is just phenomenal. And yeah, see, I dehydrate the cayennes and stuff and then just use them as needed. For the most part, you want to keep everything whole as long as possible. This is the pro tip right here. Keep everything as whole as long as possible, because once you blend it into the powder, it starts to oxidize. And within a few weeks or a month, it loses a lot of its flavor. So that's important. And okay, guys, let's see here. Any more big time questions? And okay, guys, well, thank you very much for stopping by, guys. And if you have questions, put them in the comments of the videos. If you have something that you want to show me pictures of, you can email me at gardenlikeaviking@gmail.com. And Dimitri says, Nate's cooking channel sounds good. Man, I would love to do that, because I cook from scratch every single day. That's like the event of the day. Eating is just so important, because I've discovered over the years how vital what you put into the body determines everything. What you put into the body is critical. And so you put in nutrient-dense food that you're growing and preparing yourself, and you just feel so alive. You feel so clear in the mind, and everything just, you're not deficient in stuff, and you're well hydrated, and you're well fed, and you're just thriving. That's the best way to be, in my opinion. As opposed to eating a bunch of toxic stuff, you don't know where it came from, and you got all kinds of illnesses, and you're not hydrated, and you just, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner. You never think about it. You don't plan ahead for, and those kind of people, I'm sick still. It's been 2 months. I'm still sick. All that kind of stuff. No, that's not the way to thrive, in my opinion. Okay. So, all right, guys, we will see you next week. Thank you for everything, my friends.